Legislation and its various kinds. Legislation. Legislation refers to the process of creating and enacting laws by a governing body such as Parliament or Congress. These laws follow the rules and regulations that guide the behavior, actions, and interactions of individuals, businesses, and organizations in society. This process usually involves writing the bill, discussing it, amending it, and finally signing it into law. Legislation plays an important role in establishing the country's laws and addresses many social issues, from civil rights to justice, social justice, business, and environmental protection. It reflects the values, beliefs, and ethos of a society and aims to promote fairness, and justice. In a democratic country, laws often require the input of voters who represent the interests of the people. Through this process, people create a set of rules that regulate the difference between public and private life and ensure business and harmony. Definitions. Here are definitions of legislation by famous thinkers and law dictionaries. John Locke. Legislation, as perceived by John Locke, is the formal articulation of the collective will of a society through its chosen representatives, leading to the establishment of laws that safeguard individual rights, maintain order, and uphold the social contract. Roscoe Pound. Roscoe Pound characterizes legislation as a means of social engineering, wherein laws are crafted to bring about desired changes in behavior, relationships, and societal structures to achieve a more just and harmonious community. Black's Law Dictionary. Legislation is the formal process of enacting laws by a legislative body, such as a parliament or Congress. These laws establish rules, rights, and obligations within a jurisdiction, aiming to regulate conduct, maintain order, and promote justice within society. Merriam-Webster's Dictionary of Law. Legislation encompasses the process through which laws are created, modified, and enacted by a legislative body. It involves drafting, debating, amending, and passing bills, resulting in legally binding rules that shape the rights, obligations, and behaviors of individuals and groups. Oxford English Dictionary of Law. Legislation signifies the formal act of making, promulgating, or enacting laws by a recognized legislative authority. It involves the deliberation, approval, and subsequent implementation of proposed laws, contributing to the legal framework that governs societal interactions and behavior. Kinds of legislation. Legislation encompasses various types that cater to the diverse needs and functions of a legal system. These types of legislation serve different purposes and address specific aspects of society and governance. Here are some common kinds of legislation. 1. Primary legislation. Primary legislation, often referred to as statute law or constitution, is the basis of law. It is created by national constitutional bodies such as Parliament or Congress. Primary law covers a wide range of laws, from civil rights and criminal offenses to business, taxes, and commerce. The process of creating the first law consists of several stages, including proposals, debates, amendments, and finally voting on the law. Once adopted, the original statute becomes the law of the land, serving as the basis for interpretation and application. 2. Secondary legislation. Secondary legislation, also known as applicable laws or sublaws, derives its authority from the primary law. It is established by state institutions, regional authorities, or organizations authorized by law. The second law aims to provide detailed rules and principles that complement the broader principles set out in the first law, such as laws, orders, statutes, and administrative decrees. These laws allow effective implementation of laws and their amendments without the need for parliamentary debate. 3. Criminal legislation. Criminal law includes laws that define and deal with crimes. These laws set out the definition of crime, provide relevant penalties, and outline procedures for investigating, prosecuting, and punishing perpetrators. Criminal law plays an important role in maintaining public order, ensuring justice for victims, and preventing the commission of crimes through the criminal justice system. For public legislation, examples of law that regulate various relationships and interactions between individuals, organizations, and institutions in society. It covers many legal areas, including contract law, real estate law, family law, torts, civil crimes, and more. Civil law aims to provide a framework for conflict resolution, protect human rights, and maintain harmony in civil society. It outlines the legal responsibilities and rights of parties involved in various transactions and interactions. 5. Constitution legislation. The Constitution establishes the principles of government and defines the rules and regulations. Is the responsibility of its citizens. It usually consists of laws or similar documents that determine the structure of the government, the distribution of authority among branches, and the protection of personal freedom. Constitutional laws require the government to operate in a specific area, and ensure that certain rights of citizens cannot be easily overridden by other laws. 6. Administrative legislation. Administrative law relates to the rules and regulations established by government institutions for the implementation and enforcement of laws. These regulations establish standards, procedures, and requirements for various activities. Governance is important for the proper functioning of government functions, public services, and compliance. Includes areas such as licenses, permits, health and safety standards, and more. 7. Social legislation. Social legislation addresses issues related to health, public health, workers' rights, and education. It aims to improve the health of the population by providing support systems and solving social problems. Examples of social security laws include laws regulating health, unemployment, minimum wage, workplace safety, and education. These laws reflect a society's commitment to the health and well-being of its citizens. 8. Fiscal legislation. Fiscal law includes tax law, budget, public finance, and monetary policy. These laws help maintain a stable economy, regulate government revenues and expenditures, and ensure fair and efficient taxation. Fiscal law includes procedures for accountability, public responsibility, and management of financial resources. 9. Environmental legislation. Environmental legislation focuses on laws aimed at protecting the natural environment and reducing the impact of human activities on the ecosystem. Includes areas such as pollution control, resource conservation, sustainable development, and wildlife conservation. Environmental law plays an important role in solving ecological problems, promoting sustainable practices, and preserving the world's biodiversity for future generations. 10. International legislation. International legislation deals with treaties, agreements, and treaties. A forum created by countries to manage their relations. These laws govern many issues including politics, trade, human rights, and conflict resolution. International law promotes cooperation and provides a framework for resolving disputes and ensures that standards are the same across countries. 11. Local legislation. Local legislation includes laws created by a local or regional government, such as a city council or county legislature. These laws address the specific needs and conditions of a region. Local laws may cover areas such as zoning, municipal services, traffic regulations, and public facilities. It allows communities to create laws based on their unique characteristics and values, while following national or regional legal frameworks.